Hello and welcome back to the Aviation Podcast. I'm Ken, and do I have some stories to tell you today? Let's jump right into it. Now, I know that the other day we spoke about a Connie. There's a Connie out in Kansas City that needs help, but there's another lady I'm interested in today, SOPHIA. NASA's SOPHIA, the Boeing 747 floating telescope. It's pretty amazing. Let's talk about it. Over here at simpleflying.com, we have this article. NASA's SOPHIA Boeing 747 has its telescope removed in Arizona. The legendary aircraft is being prepared for life as a museum exhibit. Oh my goodness. What a shame. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure NASA's got plenty of things up their sleeve on what they intend on doing after decommissioning this 747. But if you read into the article here, this particular aircraft has had a pretty interesting life. Now, what's going to happen is they're going to remove some of the components. Mostly it's the telescope part, the mirrors and the assembly there. In fact, there's a pretty neat little video that they have here at Simple Flying. We're not going to watch that whole thing. I figured I'd present this news article to you because it was of interest to me. Talking about today, this was on the 18th, so this is a couple days ago. It says today, the SOPHIA 747 SP, tail number November 747 November Alpha, had the tertiary mirror assembly removed as it is going to Germany to be on display at a museum to inspire future generations. Interesting. And you can see here, and this was over on the Twitter's verse, where apparently all news happens now. You can see this crane is removing the assembly out of the back of the plane. A very neat aircraft indeed. In fact, they go on to talk about a little bit about the telescope. But down here at the bottom, this is the part I was interested in. This aircraft used to fly passengers. And here in the article it reads, before being converted to fly SOPHIA's 2.7 meter reflecting telescope, November 747 November Alpha was a passenger workhorse like many other Boeing 747s. Data from ATDB.aero shows that it entered service with Pan Am in 1977 before moving to United Airlines in 1986. Recent usage data on the jet is limited, but according to ch-aviation.com, it had racked up almost 75,000 hours across 10,000 plus cycles by 2008. So certainly, SOPHIA has some miles on her, starting with Pan Am at that. Must have been a fun first few years. Well, an interesting story indeed. I wanted to bring you the story of SOPHIA. Now let's go on to our next article, which, as you may have guessed, is the FAA. Of course, it's been a certain amount of time since the FAA has put anything out on their news link here at FAA.gov. Most of their information now is being sent to Twitter. So if anybody really wants up-to-date information on the FAA, just follow their Twitter, because that's apparently the only place they seem to put anything nowadays. But this article over here at FAA.gov in the newsroom says that the FAA selects a sustainable design for new control towers at municipal and smaller airports. Now, this doesn't necessarily deal with the issue of having the remote towers. Some of the topics we discussed the other day, having remote towers at different fields, that is a different issue. This particular topic is discussing sustainable designs of new towers. So any new towers that are going to be built, they are going to need to meet a certain criteria. And let's read on. The Federal Aviation Administration has selected a sustainable design for new air traffic control towers that will be used primarily at municipal and smaller airports. The design is by Practice for Architecture and Urbanism of New York. That's the name of their business. And they're a New York firm that meets key sustainability requirements and can adjust the tower height to meet each airport's traffic and sightline requirements, while also reducing construction and operational costs. It seems nice. The design incorporates key sustainability elements, including an all-electric building system, materials and products free from chemicals known to pose health risks, thermal efficient facade, high recycled steel and metal products, renewable mass timber when usable, and ground source heating and cooling in some environments. All right, pretty neat little article. Essentially, while I'll scroll down here, you can see some of the designs they have. You can see here there's a fairly tall tower, and they have, it looks like 3 different designs that are what they're recommending, or at least what the plan is going to look like. So you have a slightly smaller, and then a medium size, and then a taller size tower to fit every need across the country. How about that? The initial set of 31 control towers and candidate airports can be found on page 664, would replace towers that are functioning beyond their intended design life. The towers will range in height from 60 to 119 feet, and the FAA has set aside more than $500 million from this bipartisan infrastructure law to support site evaluation, preparation, and early construction activities, with the first groundbreaking to begin next year in 2024. $500 million has been set aside for these. Now, yes, I did pull up the FAA budget estimates, and yes, if you go down to page 665 and you take a look at these towers, you'll see that on the list you have a couple. You have, looks like Nashville. Nashville's going to get some help. Des Moines, going to get some help. Hillsboro, Oregon, is going to get some help. And Santa Clara, California, is going to get some help. That's the first few on the list. And as you see on the list for what they call a Tier 3 and Tier 4 facilities, you have folks like, you have towers like Athens, Georgia, Mobile, Alabama, Detroit, Michigan, Shreveport, El Monte, Key West, Florence, Fort Myers, Greenville, Hartford, Jackson, so on and so on. Some places that probably, in fact, do need some help and probably just need a new tower. Either way, that is the list of towers, or of airports who will be receiving new towers, or at least they're on the list to receive new towers. Again, this does not discuss or take care of the other issue we were reviewing just the other day with our remote towers. We talked about how some remote towers are going to be removed over the next few months. This is a different set of towers. This is towers that are going to be built, brick and mortar. And they will not be remote towers. These will be towers where people will be in regularly. All right. And to look just a little further into this topic, you can actually go over here to the PAU.studio, which is the Practice for Architecture and Urbanism company. It's pretty neat. They got a who, what, why, and wow. But if you go over to the who portion and you scroll down, it talks a little bit about the company, what they're looking to do. But there's one portion of this that it should really present to you where this PAU company comes from. The PAU's process begins, it says right here, PAU's process begins with a search for emotional, social, and cultural connection. which inspires bespoke design solutions that deploy material, tectonics, light, and space to foster a sense of serendipity and community. These are airport towers, by the way. Integral to PAU's philosophy is developing a robust understanding of the daily lives of a diverse spectrum of urban dwellers, allowing the team to create multifunctional spaces that stimulate civic delight, promote environmental justice and cross-cultural pollination, and improve how people interact with the city and with each other. Delightful. All right, well, that is the firm that is has designed and is being selected. And this was, well, I say it's by the FAA, but really it was by the U.S. Transportation Secretary who, in fact, put forth this decision to go with PAU. So that is the route we're going. So be on the lookout for some new towers starting next year. All right, and we're going to go on to our last topic today. And of course, we're going to talk about the SpaceX explosion that happened this morning. Did you not see it? It was amazing. Let's take a quick look. We're over here at apnews.com, and apnews.com has a short video here that shows a little bit about what was going on this morning. This over here in Boca Chica, Texas. There you see it. The Elon Musk's most recent rocket, and it was a big one too. It's a mighty big rocket. Let's see. It goes up into the atmosphere. As you can see in the bottom left-hand side of the video, it actually shows the engines that are on and running. It looks like we had some engines that weren't functioning at 100%, and actually some engines had gone offline. The rocket started to tumble. It was supposed to detach or separate from the main spaceship portion away from the booster rockets, and that did not happen. It actually stayed together, and it then started to tumble back down through the atmosphere until the big giant explosion, and then all the pieces came raining down. Where is that? It's a little sideways here. Let's see what it does. Still sideways. Still sideways. And, yep, there it is. Yep, boom. And boom again, yeah, multiple booms. And here comes the debris. Well, luckily, no one was hurt. Nobody was on the craft. And in fact, Elon Musk stated that this was essentially lessons learned. There's a lot of good data that they pulled from this launch, and they're going to use this data to help support their next launch, which is scheduled for a few months from now. All right. I think that will do it. I think we'll go ahead and end today on this explosive day of rocket testing. But we've enjoyed it. We hope you did too. If you liked the video, please share, subscribe, comment below. Tell us, what do you think about these rockets exploding? Is it worth the data that they retrieve from this? Who knows? Maybe it is. All right. Well, we'll leave it there today on this explosive day of rocket testing. And until next time, take care.